Sarah Chen pressed her ear against the apartment wall at 11:47 p.m., listening to her neighbor's muffled sobs. The single mother next door had been crying for 20 minutes straight, the kind of crying that comes from somewhere deep and broken. Sarah had heard it before. Growing up, those sounds had leaked through thin walls in a different building, a different life. She thought she'd left those memories behind when she built her construction empire from nothing. But some sounds never really leave you. Then came the small knock on her door, so soft she almost missed it over the hum of her laptop. 3 tiny taps, hesitant and desperate all at once. Sarah opened the door. A little girl stood in the hallway, maybe 6 years old, wearing pajamas covered with dancing bears. Her dark hair was messy, her feet bare on the cold hallway tile. But it was her eyes that stopped Sarah's heart, red-rimmed, swollen, holding the kind of fear no child should ever know. "Can you fix our door?" The words tumbled out in a rush. "Mommy's scared." Sarah's breath caught. She looked past the child. The neighbor's door, apartment 4B, hung crooked on broken hinges, the frame splintered into jagged pieces of wood. The deadbolt dangled uselessly. This wasn't old damage from settling or wear. This was violence, fresh and raw. "What happened, sweetie?" Sarah knelt down to eye level, keeping her voice steady even as her pulse hammered. The bad man came back. The little girl's voice cracked, and she twisted her hands together. "He was yelling really loud and Mommy told me to hide in my closet, but I could hear everything. He kicked the door and kicked it and it broke and Mommy screamed at him to leave and he finally did, but now," she sucked in a shaky breath, "now Mommy pushed the couch against it but it won't stay and she can't stop shaking and I don't know what to do." Tears spilled down her cheeks. "Please. You always smile at us in the hallway. You gave me that candy last week. Are you nice? Can you help?" Sarah's throat tightened so hard she could barely breathe. She lived in this modest 3-story building by choice, paying cash for a simple 1-bedroom when she could have bought a penthouse downtown. Nobody here knew she was the CEO of Chen Construction, one of the fastest growing companies in the city. She wore jeans and old sweaters at home. She took out her own trash. She was just Sarah from 4C who worked a lot and smiled at neighbors and sometimes handed out candy to the building's kids. But right now, she was exactly who this child needed. "I'm very nice," Sarah said firmly, taking the small, trembling hand in hers. "And yes, I can absolutely fix your door. Right now. Tonight. You did exactly the right thing by asking for help." She stood, grabbed her phone, and sent rapid-fire texts while walking the little girl back toward 4B. First message to Marcus, her head of security, a former police detective who'd worked vice and domestic violence cases for 15 years before she'd hired him. He understood situations like this in his bones. Asterisk, need you at my building now. Domestic violence situation. Broken door. Possible return threat. Asterisk. His reply came in 10 seconds. Asterisk, on my way. 12 minutes. Asterisk. Second message to Tommy, her best Finnish carpenter, the one who could build anything, fix anything, and never asked questions when she called at midnight. Asterisk, emergency door repair needed immediately. My building. Bring reinforced frame materials and best locks. Asterisk. His response. Asterisk, loading the truck. 15 minutes. Asterisk. Then Sarah knocked gently on the damaged door frame. "Maria. It's Sarah from next door. Your daughter came to get me. I'm coming in, okay? I'm here to help." A choked sob came from inside, then movement. The sound of furniture scraping across floor. The door opened 6 inches, held by a chain lock that looked like it would snap if someone sneezed on it. A woman's face appeared in the gap, mid-30s, Hispanic, with a swollen cheek already purpling into a bruise. Maria. Sarah had seen her dozens of times, always rushing to or from work, always looking exhausted but managing a smile. Always holding her daughter's hand like it was the only thing keeping her anchored to the world. "I'm Sarah from 4C, she said gently, keeping her body language open and non-threatening. "I know we've never really talked, but your daughter asked me to help fix your door. I have people coming right now, good people, safe people, who can make this secure tonight. May I come in?" Maria's eyes darted past Sarah to the empty hallway, checking for threats. Then she looked at her daughter, who nodded solemnly. The chain rattled, and the door opened. Sarah stepped inside apartment 4B for the first time. The layout mirrored her own, small living room, kitchenette, 2 bedrooms down a short hall. But where Sarah's place was sparse and clean, Maria's was lived in and loved. Children's drawings covered the refrigerator. A plastic tea set sat arranged carefully on a small table. Second-hand furniture, but everything neat and cared for. The couch was shoved against the broken door at an angle, clearly pushed there by someone running on pure adrenaline. Maria stood in the center of the room, still clutching a kitchen knife. She was shaking so hard the blade trembled. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I'm so sorry. I didn't know what else to do. The police, I've called them before, but he's always gone by the time they arrive, and they just write reports and leave and tell me to file restraining orders, but I already have one and he doesn't care. He just..." Her voice broke completely. Sarah moved slowly, carefully. "May I take that knife? Just so we can all relax a bit." After a long moment, Maria handed it over. Sarah set it on the kitchen counter, then guided Maria to sit on a chair, the only furniture not barricading the door. "You're safe now," Sarah said, and meant it with every fiber of her being. "My security chief is on his way. He's former police, and he actually knows how to handle these situations. We're going to install a real door tonight, not just fix the old one. Steel reinforced. Locks that actually work. And Maria," she waited until the woman met her eyes, "we are not just fixing this door. We're making absolutely sure he never comes back. I promise you that." By 12:30 a.m., Sarah's living room had transformed into a command center. Marcus arrived first, his silver hair still perfect despite the midnight call, carrying a tactical bag and a laptop. Tommy showed up 8 minutes later with his truck bed full of materials: reinforced steel door frame, commercial-grade deadbolts, security hinges that couldn't be kicked through no matter how hard someone tried. While Tommy worked next door, the sound of his drill precise and professional, Marcus sat across from Sarah at a small dining table, his laptop screen casting blue light across documents he'd pulled up in minutes. He'd been a detective for 20 years before Sarah hired him. He knew how to access public records most people didn't even know existed. "Maria Delgado, age 34, Marcus read quietly, his voice the same calm tone he'd probably used in hundreds of interrogations. 3 police reports filed in the past 8 months. Domestic violence. Ex-boyfriend, Rafael Santos, age 37. First incident, verbal threats and property damage. Second, physical assault. Maria declined to press charges. Third, forcible entry and assault, restraining order issued." He looked up, his jaw tight. Restraining order violated twice. Both times he was gone before police arrived. Both times he claimed he was just talking to her. Sarah's hands curled into fists. "Pattern. Textbook escalation," Marcus said grimly. "Starts with control, moves to intimidation, progresses to violence. The fact that he's violating a restraining order tells me he's not afraid of consequences anymore. That makes him more dangerous." He pulled up another screen. He's got priors: assault from 6 years ago, plea bargain. Anger management classes he never completed. Currently unemployed. Last known address is his brother's place about 2 miles from here. Sarah stood, paced to her window overlooking the parking lot. What do the police actually do in situations like this? Marcus leaned back, and his expression turned bitter. "Honestly? Not enough. They respond to calls, write reports, maybe arrest him if they catch him in the act. But domestic violence cases are complicated. Victims often recant, judges are overworked, and restraining orders are just paper. They only work if the person respects the law." He paused. "Santos doesn't respect anything." "So we make him," Sarah said quietly. Marcus smiled, the expression sharp. "That's why I like working for you." Sarah pulled out her phone and made the first call, to Jennifer Wu, the attorney who'd handled her company's corporate cases for 5 years. A woman who answered her personal cell at 12:47 a.m. without complaint because Sarah paid her enough to make that reasonable. "Jennifer, I need the best domestic violence attorney in the city. Pro bono if possible, but I'll cover all costs either way. Client is my neighbor, 3 police reports, active restraining order being violated, escalating situation." Sarah rattled off the details while Jennifer typed in the background. "David Morrison," Jennifer said immediately. "Former prosecutor, now runs a non-profit legal clinic. His one protective orders that actually stick, got judges to take threats seriously. I'll text you his emergency number. Tell him I sent you. He owes me a favor." Second call went to Rebecca Stamps, director of New Horizons Women's Shelter. Sarah had donated $50,000 to their capital campaign last year, attended their gala, stayed late talking to survivors who shared their stories. Rebecca had given Sarah her personal number and said, "Call anytime, for anything." "Rebecca, I have a situation," Sarah began, and explained everything. The broken door, the terrified woman, the little girl who'd knocked for help. Sarah, listen carefully, Rebecca said, her voice urgent but controlled. I have an emergency bed available tonight if Maria wants it. Safe location, security, counseling services, legal advocacy. But here's what most people don't understand. Leaving is the most dangerous time. Statistics show that's when escalation happens, when abusers realize they're losing control completely. So what do we do? Sarah asked. Create layers of safety. Multiple options, multiple protections. The door is layer 1, good. Legal advocacy is layer 2. But she needs layer 3, a safety plan. Somewhere to go instantly if he shows up. People she can call who'll respond immediately. Security measures that buy her time. Rebecca paused. And she needs to know she's not alone anymore. That's actually the most important layer. By 1:15 a.m., Tommy had finished the installation. The new door was magnificent. Steel core, reinforced frame bolted directly into the wall studs, 3 deadbolts including one at floor level, and a peephole with a 180-degree view. This door doesn't break, Tommy said simply. I built it like a safe room entrance. He can kick until his leg falls off. Sarah walked back into apartment 4B with Marcus. Maria sat on her couch, now back in its proper position, with her daughter asleep beside her, head in Maria's lap. The woman looked up, exhausted but calmer. The door is done, Sarah said, sitting across from her. But we are not finished. Tomorrow morning, Marcus is installing security cameras in the hallway. 2 angles covering your door and the building entrance. You're also getting a panic button system. 1 press and it alerts the police automatically with your address and situation details. No calling, no waiting, no explaining. They just come. Maria's eyes filled with tears. I can't afford any of this. I work 2 jobs already, morning shift at the diner, evening cleaning offices. I'm barely making rent. I can't. You're not paying, Sarah interrupted firmly. None of this costs you anything. And tomorrow afternoon, you're meeting with David Morrison, the best domestic violence attorney in this city. He's going to help you get a protective order that has real teeth, file charges that prosecutors will actually pursue, and build a legal case that makes Santos understand that if he comes near you again, he goes to prison for years, not days. But why? Maria whispered, looking bewildered. You don't even know us. Why would you do all this? Sarah glanced at the little girl sleeping peacefully now, her teddy bear tucked under one arm, her face finally relaxed. Then she looked back at Maria and let herself be honest in a way she rarely was. Because when I was 7 years old, I knocked on a neighbor's door at midnight, Sarah said quietly. My mother was behind our broken door, crying just like you were tonight. And that neighbor looked at me, looked past me at what was happening, and closed their door in my face. Said it wasn't their business. Said they didn't want to get involved. Her voice hardened. I swore then that if I ever had the power to help someone in that situation, I would. No hesitation. No excuses. So this isn't charity, Maria. This is me keeping a promise I made to my 7-year-old self. Maria broke down completely then, sobbing, but different from before. These were tears of relief, of release, of realizing she wasn't carrying this alone anymore.